Hello, Eagles everywhere. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro from the NovaCare Complex virtual studio. And I'm joined by the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Doug Pederson. As the Eagles end the virtual offseason program early, Doug, let's start with you and how you're doing. How has your spring been to date?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. First of all, I hope everybody is, staying safe and healthy and doing well. And just like we are, everything's been going extremely well. And, for me, it's just a matter of just continuing to organize, continuing to lead and plan and pushing hopefully for and towards training camp. But I couldn't be happier where we are right now as a football team. My hat's off to my coaching staff, the trainers, strength conditioning, everybody that's been involved with this offseason program, and been very, very pleased with everything.
Why did you end the program early? Initially, this was scheduled, I guess, to go through next week. Why end it today?
Yeah, we were scheduled, to go through the 24th, and I just really feel like we're in a good place right now as a football team, and with the uncertainty of when training camp is about to start, I still wanted to have these guys fresh and ready and prepared mentally that way. And so by shutting things down, it gives them time to kind of catch their breath just a little bit, coaches and players. And as I said, we were in a good spot. We've been in a good spot now for a while, good rhythm with everything that we've done. And so I felt that in the best interest of everybody to go ahead and shut down the offseason program and prepare for this next couple of weeks.
Okay, so Doug, talk about what you take away from a virtual program where you cannot reach out and touch players. You can't get them on the field. You can't see how they're taking what they learned from the classroom out to the practice field. What do you think you accomplished here in the last several weeks?
Well, I think one thing that, you're absolutely right. Not being on the grass has definitely been the biggest issue for all 32 teams, this spring, not being able to just kind of see what they do know, especially the young players, the rookies and the new additions to your football team. But, being in and out of meetings and listening and having my coaches do write-ups on our players and really understanding where the mindset of our guys are. I again feel like they're in a really good spot, and the takeaways are just that. And a lot of information has been given to our players from a football standpoint, even from a training and medical standpoint. So again, without being too redundant and without being to the point where it becomes boring and monotonous for everybody, it's just a matter of now just preparing and getting ready for camp whenever that is.
Doug, obviously a huge topic of conversation has been these global, very emotional, very passionate protests in the wake of the death of George Floyd. How have you felt about that? How have you addressed that with the football team, and how have the players responded to all that?
Yeah, first of all, for me, obviously, it was a shame. And, my heart sunk, obviously, for the Floyd family and for all those involved. But, this is something where now I think as individuals, we have to look inward, and we have to look at each, I have to look at myself first, and it has to start with me as not only the leader of the football team, but a leader of my family and my household. And so I felt like it was a couple weeks ago, it was a great opportunity to really, begin the conversations with our football team, with the Philadelphia Eagles, and allow our team, allow our players to talk and speak, and not only to start the conversation, but I reiterated again to the players that we need to keep having these conversations. But as I mentioned, it starts with me, and you have to look inward before we can focus on the outward. And I'm looking forward to having these conversations as we move forward with our team.
So to this point, Doug, specifically, has there been a group conversation? What has taken place in those, if there have been conversations, and what specifically has been said by the players, by yourself, by Jeffrey Lurie?
Well, obviously we saw what and read what Jeffrey had put out, and he was right on point with everything that he mentioned there, and it was great for him as the leader, as the owner of our football team, to take that stand and to take those necessary steps. But from the standpoint of even listening to my coaches talk and the dialogue that they've had with their players in their individual meetings, and continuing the conversations and continuing the dialogue has been very positive here in the last couple of weeks. And it's just something, as I mentioned, I think it's something that we're going to continue. I know we're going to continue to revisit and talk and have open dialogue. It's been part of the success we've had in Philadelphia, is being able to have difficult and challenging conversations as a football team. And we have to pay attention to life, obviously, and focus on that, because that's the most important thing. And then we can always get back to football at any time.
Doug, I know part of your offseason always involves building camaraderie and chemistry and having the fun competitions that we've talked about in the past. I wonder, is there a winner in this offseason who takes home, well, hopefully a real championship belt, but at this point a virtual championship belt? I think Jason Kelsey won it last year. Do we have a champion crowned for this offseason to date?
At this time, we haven't done that. It's something that as I have conversations with Ted Rath and his staff, it is definitely something that we will put out there. We've always had that in the offseason before. It's something that I think our guys really kind of rallied behind and rally around. It's just like not only camaraderie, but the friendly competition at every position and within the team. I think that's healthy, and it kind of brings guys together. So I know we'll have a champion here probably within the next couple of days.
Doug, we turn our attention to training camp, the regular season. I mean, what do you know about what's next? What have you been told by the league?
Well, I know they're still working through a couple of things, and my focus is on the football team right now, and just making sure that they're safe and healthy in these next couple of weeks. Whenever we do get back to football and get back into our building, but things will look different. Training camp will probably look a little bit different. Obviously, we know regular season games could possibly be a little different, but we'll just take it one day at a time, and when we get there, we'll make those decisions.
What has this taught you as a head coach, running an organization, a football organization, about being flexible and about being resourceful and, thinking outside the box and accomplishing what you want to accomplish, what you need to accomplish, and not doing it in a conventional manner?
Well, I think it's for me personally, it's made me more efficient in my job. It's made me focus solely on the football team and the tasks, and I wasn't quite certain how things were going to go at the beginning of the offseason with the virtual program. If players were just going to get bored with having virtual meetings and workouts and not take part. But I mean, we haven't had close to 100% participation. I mean, it's been extremely well attended by the players, and my hat is off to them. And that's something that I'm proud of as a football coach, and leading these guys. And and for us as coaches to be resourceful, bringing in guest speakers to talk to the football team, on a weekly basis, and to hear from, guys in other sports that have been at been at the peak of their sport, or coached at the peak of their sport. And, it's just different ways of getting the job done. And so, for me, it's allowed me to really think outside the box, as you said, in that way, and, continue to lead the football team and, keep everybody engaged. And so, again, more reason to, shut things down a little bit early.
Doug, we talked about it a little bit before, but let's talk more about some of the speakers that you had in. Who did you have in? I know Phil Jackson, Steve Kerr. Who else came in and spoke to the team, and what kind of impact do you think they had?
Yeah, the two you mentioned there, Steve Kerr, Phil Jackson. We had CC Sabathia on, Charles Barkley on, Mike Trout, came on and visited with us, and guys that, that's an all-star lineup right there, with the guys that and coaches who came in and shared their experiences with a football team. And it was fun. It was fun for me to get to know these individuals, but yet at the same time to ask questions that I know a lot of our players, were wanting to ask and to have dialogue, and to hear how they prepared, to hear how they worked in season and out of season. And it was just it was fun. And for the 25 to 30 minutes of conversation, to just lean on their experiences and have takeaways, and then to go back and revisit those conversations and pull something that I could use potentially moving forward with the team.
Doug, as you said, we really don't know what's next. Preseason games, do you have in mind an ideal number of games? You don't sound frustrated by all this. You really sound like you're kind of taking it as it's coming to you. But in your mind, do you have an ideal number of games you'd like to see in the preseason?
Yeah, first of all, Dave, I'm not frustrated with it, because this is the time that we're in, and I think the sooner that we can accept it and work with it, the better we're going to be. And I think that's something that our team has done this offseason. But when the league has answers, they'll get those answers, to us on the amount of time to prepare, the amount of games that we're going to play. And so I don't worry myself about that. I'm just focused on, the guys, obviously staying healthy, staying safe, getting them back here to Philadelphia at some point, for training camp. And if we play one game or if we play 4 games, we're gonna go and we're gonna prepare just like we do each season.
How critical, how difficult, how challenging will it be with limited time on the field, because there's no spring OTAs, to go from 90 players to 53 and to make sure that you've got the right 53 on this roster? That player evaluation phase is going to be so important.
You're absolutely right. And, so for us as coaches and evaluators, we have to do our due diligence to make sure that we're putting our players in position to be successful and to help this football team this season, whoever those 53 are. And, and at the same time, you have your penciled in guys that are starters, and you want to make sure you're getting them, enough work so that they're prepared come opening day. And so it's a challenge to do that. And so you have to schedule the practices the right way, and you have to, get the players again in position to showcase their talent on the football field. And, with missing an entire offseason like we have, again, the challenge is going to be on us as coaches to make sure that we're, again, doing the right things, but at the same time making those evaluations and those determinations when we get to the final 53.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback. And I'd like you to comment on his offseason. From the time he was injured against Seattle, the coronavirus hits and how he stepped up and helped the community, having a baby, becoming a father, welcoming Jalen Hurts to the team, reportedly, and we saw the social media as well, addressing the team so aggressively and as in a leadership way in the wake of the George Floyd death. What have you seen from Carson in those realms? Not on the field, of course, but taking over in a virtual sense as a leader this spring.
Yeah, Dave, that's a great question, because it's something that it's a lot. It seems like a lot on somebody's plate, to be able to handle all of that. And we're sitting here, 2 weeks basically into June, and almost half of the year is gone here. And for us and for me, I mean, it just shows the type of person that Carson Wentz is, and how deeply he cares, not only for his family, but also his brothers with the Philadelphia Eagles and his extended family that way. And, that's what you want from your leader. You're the face of the franchise, and you want him, to do this. You want him to step up and embrace it, and he has, along with many of the players on the team, but specifically Carson and what he has done. So it just shows the type of person that he is, the type of character that he has, the leadership, how he leads this football team, not only on the field but off the field. And it's just, again, just a breath of fresh air for our football team.
I don't want to get too specific with players, but I do want to ask about Alshon Jeffery. The fans have talked a lot about him in this offseason. The media have talked a lot about him in this offseason. Your thoughts on Alshon and where he's at mentally, where he's at physically, and where he fits into this offense in 2020?
Yeah, Alshon is a tremendous person, tremendous player. Helped us win a championship a couple years ago, and obviously unfortunate the injury that happened late in the season last year. But he's one of the guys I just mentioned that's working extremely hard, to get himself back out on the football field. And he's been in these virtual meetings. He's engaged in conversation. He's helping the young players, and that's what you want from your veteran leaders in these positions. And I'm excited for him. He's a great player for us, and hopefully we get him back sooner than later, and he'll help us win games. But this is a time now where he needs to continue to just focus on rehab, focus on healing, get himself 100% before we put him back out on the field. But been very pleased with where Alshon is right now.
Doug, last one for you. Do you see a lot of jobs open in training camp in the preseason? Do you see a lot of starting jobs open?
Well, I think when you look at it on paper, every job has an opportunity. But listen, one of the things, Dave, and this is being around is we try to create, and I've tried to create competition at every spot. And this is a unique year, unique time right now, and it's a time where we might have to lean on the veteran player just a little bit more, as we get into the regular season and their experiences and all that. But look, anything is possible. We've seen that the last couple of years with the injuries, and we've had to play some young people. And again, it's our job as coaches to coach these young guys, to coach everybody, and have the best 53 at the end of training camp to go into that first game against Washington. So create the competition, create depth. Again, I like where our football team is at. They had a tremendous offseason, and just look forward to training camp when that time comes.
Doug, thank you so much. Enjoy your offseason. I know you'll be playing a lot of golf. Stay safe out there, and can't wait to see you back at the NovaCare Complex.